Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Fertility Talk. Today we are talking to Dr. Dani Botha. And Dr. Dani is from Fembrio Fertility Clinic and they are out in Port Elizabeth, Eastern Cape. Am I correct, Doctor?
Yes, and thank you very much for the invitation. That is absolutely correct in the
It's
beautiful Eastern Cape.
it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us today and making the time out to do these talks because I know you doctors are very, very busy. So today, before I ask the first question, I'd like you to just introduce yourself, where you're from, what is it you do, that type of thing.
As I've been introduced, I'm Dr. Dani Botha. I'm a gynecologist and reproductive specialist practicing at the Fembrio Clinic. I had my training at the Vincent Pallotti Hospital in Tygerberg under Professor Creer and Siebert, and he's been working in fertility for the past 17 years here in the Fembrio Clinic, together currently with Dr. Debbie Prince and Dr. Wendy Sich. Wilhelm Skuman is our embryologist.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Doctor. So we're going to talk about HIV and fertility treatments. And we're going to get into our first question. It says, can individuals or couples living with HIV safely undergo IVF to conceive a child?
Yes. Well, first of all, I think it's a very relevant topic, especially with us in South Africa, but more so also in the Eastern Cape. As you know, or may know, that HIV is a problem worldwide,
Yeah.
with more than 37 million people
Mm.
currently living with HIV. But what is more staggering is that the 20% of that worldwide statistic is actually in South Africa. So it is a massive amount of people, more than 7 million patients living with HIV. And 80% of those are in their reproductive years, where they want to actually conceive. Now, we'll say a little bit later about the ways of conceiving in patients with HIV. But the short answer, yes. IVF is a safe procedure for couples living with HIV who would like to contemplate starting a family.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Doctor. Our next question is, what precautions are taken during IVF to prevent IVF transmissions to the baby of an HIV negative partner?
That question is an important question because it actually starts long before the IVF process.
Mm.
And I think that is the take-home message for patients wanting to conceive and have been diagnosed with HIV. The process starts long before the 12 days of stimulation for our IVF cycle by seeing a specialist, first of all, an infective specialist that is dealing, or your general practitioner, with HIV. And the first thing is in discordant couples. Now, that means that one of the partners got HIV, the other partner doesn't, or in cordant couples where both partners may have HIV. It is important to have preconception counseling. In our clinic, we first see the couple and we explain to them the whole process, but also life choices and changes they have to make, as well as medication that they have to be on before they actually even start. And the most important thing is, in the event of the male being positive and female being negative, that the male's viral load must be undetectable. Now, with the new measurements, we say it's less than 20 copies per milliliter of the viral load that is important. Secondly, they both must have examinations and investigations for other sexually transmitted diseases like syphilis, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, chlamydia, as these infections may make the chance that HIV may be transmitted from partner to partner actually higher.
Mm.
And it does, of course, influence the outcome of the pregnancy. We then make sure that the indication for IVF is clear. We don't put all patients, like it used to be in the early days of HIV diagnosis, everyone must go for IVF just because they're HIV positive. That has fortunately changed. And the CDC has recently brought out a statement in conjunction with the American Society of Reproductive Medicine that couples without an indication for IVF can actually conceive naturally at home with certain precautions or through IUI. To answer the question, can they safely do IVF? Absolutely. We just make sure that the viral load is undetectable. We do double sperm washing for the male.
Mm.
We do use pre-exposure prophylaxis for the female partners. And then, of course, make sure that during the whole cycle transfer, when they are having intercourse, that they use condoms for that period. And that's basically the steps that we use in order to make this IVF outcome safe and as safe as can be and as effective as can be in non-HIV patients.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Our next question is, are there any additional medical treatments or protocols for HIV positive individuals undergoing IVF? I know you mentioned quite a few, but maybe there's just something that we haven't gone through.
Yeah. Yeah, we can go through it again. I think just one thing that is there any additional measures? No. We treat all HIV patients exactly the same as non-HIV patients because if we've done all the work before we actually start the cycle, their cycle is going to be exactly the same. It is a little bit different if the female is HIV positive, because then, of course, she's at additional risk of infection during the pickup procedure. And we must make double sure that she is then definitely virally suppressed in order to reduce vertical transmission, that is transmission from mother to baby. If we have all these steps in place, the vertical transmission rate is less than 2%, of course, combined with a cesarean section and no breastfeeding. That has also now been challenged by the CDC. But I do think the important thing is pre-exposure prophylaxis. In couples not doing IVF, but wanting to conceive at home after they've been evaluated by a specialist, that tubal patency is there, that viral load is undetectable, no other infections are present, and they're healthy, then we will recommend that pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is basically a daily pill that they do take, which contains 2 antiretrovirals. Then the female, in the event of she being negative, must start taking it 7 days before expected ovulation and continue for another 7 days. The same is true for couples having intercourse who just want to try and baby. They must make sure that they have pre-exposure 7 days ahead of the expected insemination or home plan ovulation. So for the rest of the time, they must have condom use. We still see data that it's better if the men with HIV has had circumcisions. And then, of course, make sure that the diagnosis of IVF is correct before you just proceed to IVF. The other thing is sperm washing. And we are addressing it in one of the later questions. I'll say a little bit more about it then. But it's basically to keep the highly active antiretroviral therapy as good as possible in the infected partner, with the counter partner that's negative protected by PRP, condom use, and limit amounts of non-protected intercourse episodes.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Our next question is, how does the undetectable viral load impact the success and safety of IVF treatment for people living with HIV?
Actually, wonderful. In HIV couples on highly active antiretrovirals, with all the measures taken as we've explained, their success rate should be exactly the same as the non-HIV patients in the same clinic. Exception may be that some of the antiretrovirals contain protein inhibitors, protease inhibitors, and that may have a negative effect on the male sperm. But it doesn't seem that it has a negative effect on the total outcome. There are studies saying that there may be more miscarriages in patients who's HIV positive, where the female is especially positive, but that has not been validated by other studies. Secondly, the live birth rate should be the same, and that is more age dependent and the quality of the sperm dependent, like non-HIV patients. So we can, with all these principles that we apply, have exactly the same outcome per age group of IVF outcome and even insemination outcome as for non-HIV individuals.
Thank you very much. Our very last question is, what role does sperm washing play in IVF for HIV positive men, and how effective is it in preventing transmission?
Well, it's very effective. And Santorini did a big study on that and said that it is actually effective to prevent it. And those were the earlier days when highly active antiretroviral therapy wasn't widely available. But it has been proven that if even in men whose viral load is not undetectable, and double washing of sperm, meaning you first do a gradient of the sperm and then we do what we call a swim up in the laboratory, meaning double washing, has proven that not one single individual in those studies where she was negative before the insemination with her husband's partner's positive sperm, positive HIV result, has actually been infected. And none of the pregnancies were affected by inseminations or IVF with HIV positive men with antiretrovirals. One thing about the sperm prep is in the biggest study published, they even showed that in men who wasn't taking their antiretrovirals regularly with with non-suppressed levels, even then, sperm washing seems to be very effective. The reason for that is, and I think it's important for the public to know, that HIV is not in the sperm cell. It's in the semen and in the ejaculate. So what we do is we wash the sperm and segregate the sperm from the semen, and even the virus, which is particles of virus, is in the fluid and not in the sperm. So by getting the sperm out and wash it again, we actually segregate the sperm from the infective material, which is the fluid.
Thank you very much. It was so very much so informative. And I'm sure you brought so much hope to women or couples that's living with HIV, thinking that, this is it, they can't have any kids. And you've been so informative with this talk and also breaking it down the way you did. So thank you very much for that. We really appreciate it. So Dr. Botha is available. He's at Fembrio. If you want to contact him, his number is 041 374 3974. Obviously, the receptionist. But you can find them. The website is fembrio.co.za, or you can email them at info@fembrio.co.za. Thank you very much, Doctor. I really appreciate your time today and doing this topic. It was a much needed topic. We've never done this before. And we hope to have you back again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and to the listeners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys, and chat to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.